Hey guys, altcoin Sherpa here. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a professional. This is for educational purposes only. Do your own research. Okay, so I wanted to talk today about if this is alt season, what triggers I'm looking for, what I think about this recent downtrend for altcoins, and all that. So I'm going to take a look at SXP. USD, and this chart basically is a good example of why you cannot call this an alt season yet or anywhere close. If anything, this is still just a bearish retest, and price is still bearish and not bullish in the least yet. You can see right here, generally, swing lows like this are going to be significant when you see reactions that follow, such as this, what happened in September. So this swing low right here is going to be important when looking at future price action. For instance, you could already see price bounced when it returned to this area in October, and then bounced once again in later October. And then demand fell through. Price went down after that. And this is a good example right here of this price action of what it looks like when support is tested over and over again. And this is the same for resistance as well. If you think about it from just a pure order perspective in supply and demand, right here, this area, this 103 area is where buyers stepped in and brought price up when price again grinded down lower. And again, this was another example of just another bearish retest right here. When price went up to this area, it still made a lower high compared to before. And after price returned here, once again, there were some buyers that brought price up again. But again, Crypto Cred said it best: first test, best test. Usually you get the best reaction from key levels. And this chart, I believe that there's actually more price history on the FTX chart. So there might have been a key level over here that is not on the Binance chart. But however, this is where buyer stepped in, price returned to it, buyer stepped in again. And you can keep seeing this weaker reaction. It's going to be like putting a rubber ball on the ground and just taking a rubber ball and dropping it on the ground. You're going to see the first test, the first bounce be the strongest, which is right here. Next test, a little weaker, and then just going to go on through. So if demand is constantly tested over and over again, this is going to just fall on through, and that's what happened with SXP. But the bottom line is that this is still just a bearish retest for now. This is not bullish by any means. This is still a lower high. This is not a higher high yet. And you can see huge volume coming in, which is generally indicative of a bottom or getting close to bottom, but there's not any follow-up. You know, if you want to see some bullish moves, you want to see that area reclaimed and then higher levels tested after that. So this is a good example of the entire altcoin market right now. We had some great gains where coins actually went like 100% from the bottom. And it's fantastic for short gains, and it's even better for alt USD pairs. But as of right now, they're still just lower highs. So, you know, you can't call them bullish market structures yet. What might be bullish is if price were to form like a macro higher low, so you could see this right here is like the low, and you can see maybe like price were to like consolidate here and form a higher low. That would be something that would give me a lot more confidence that these current lows that price put in, like the 70-cent mark, that was the low. Like if we see a higher low form, then I'll be more confident that this is the low. But as of right now, this still just looks like, a lower high right now. Okay, so here's another chart of SNX tether, and I had these fib levels drawn. I think these fib levels were drawn from low time frame charts, but what I'm really looking for, and I think there's more price history in other charts as well. I'm just using Binance because it was just what came up. You can see right here, demand zone, demand zone, demand, demand, demand. And this is, again, a great example of that rubber ball just falling on through, right? You can see first test right here. Looks really nice. Good reaction. Another test. Oh, pretty good reaction. And the reactions get weaker and weaker until price just nukes through. So what I would like to see here, you can see price basically blitzed on through. And, there's some key levels right here. I would really want to see these lows hold here if we're going to call this bullish. And you could maybe argue that price made a lower or a higher high here, because price did wick above this last high, this last significant high. So that's something that you could argue. And you could also argue that, this is the low here, and you want to see price make a higher low. So that's kind of what I'm looking for SNX. The BTC pairs for altcoins have been fucking terrible. Anyone that's been trading the BTC pairs, unless you've been trading something new like Alpha or AXS or coins like that, then you probably saw a lot of altcoins. A lot of the DeFi coins actually did pretty well too with the alt BTC pairs. But right now, alt BTC pairs are going to be a lot scarier than the alt USD pairs. The reason is that if BTC USD value goes up, then the alt BTC pairs are going to go down. Trying to think of the best way to explain that, but basically, if the relative value of an altcoin stays the same, but the BTC USD, the BTC price goes up, then the alt BTC pair will go down. The alt BTC pair is really just found by dividing the price of each other. So I don't know. It's I'll explain that in another video or something, but it's pretty simple. Anyways, for the alt BTC pairs, they're pretty ugly right now, and like something like Link, you can see the 200-day EMA is getting lost again, but you can see a lot of just straight lower highs for alt BTC pairs. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see, price retest the lows again or seek this area, this demand area right here. That would also be something. But alt BTC pairs in general right now are very iffy. I would trade alt USD pairs. And until shown otherwise, shorting is probably the best way to go about it. I mean, the trend is still bearish until proven otherwise, as shown by the SXP chart. Okay, so let's jump to, this is Solana. These are some notes I wrote up before. And it, again, highlights kind of that same concept of the rubber ball bouncing on the ground. Here was like a demand zone here, and you can actually extend it right here. this entire area was just support. So support, 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 support. Price breaks on through. Price seeks new liquidity at these lows here. And now we're seeing, again, kind of like a bearish retest. You know, this area, this former demand area is now going to be a supply zone. There's going to be a lot of sellers up here. You can kind of change the chart too if you want. Like this. It's the same concept of support and resistance. You know, this is support. Once support gets flipped, it becomes resistance, and vice versa. So as of right now, what I would like to see for a chart like this is I would like to see price make a higher low and then go up. That's something I would like to see. But until that time, this is just going to be like another lower high. Again, here's AAVE, BTC. Here's my fib chart, which was really nice. Again, AAVE is going to look differently than on the USDT pair than this one. But again, from my experience, this did have a nice pullback to the 0.786 fib, which I probably should have just bought. And price moved up. But again, I'm not going to assume this is going to be a bullish move until a higher low gets put in. Majors actually have been doing okay. They grinded up recently, but again, this is just kind of like a supply zone, just a bunch of sellers up here. And again, too, this is just going to be like a lower high formed so far. And it could just go straight on back to this demand area. The entire area was just support. But again, if you want to start calling these altcoins bullish, then you want to see the former highs broken, and you're not quite seeing that yet. You're still seeing lower highs across the board for the most part. Why did I have this chart? Okay, oh yeah, I remember. So when do you know a reversal is coming, and when do you know if it's like a good time to buy, or if it's quote unquote alt season, or whatever you want to call it? When is the environment for alts going to be good? You basically want to start marking your levels to the point where you see high time frame resistance levels. And for PERL, I marked these two areas. You could see that price had a hard time breaking through several times. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Again, resistance. Kind of these areas. And then you saw this right here, this 1 day high volume accompanied with breaking like this swing high here. So basically what you're looking for is massive volume follow-up and breaking above and closing above key levels. And after this happens, price just blitzes on through. Like even these sell zones before did not really hold. So what I'm looking for is basically when marking levels, when I think that these alts are ready to reverse, I'm looking for big volume follow-ups along with closes above high time frame resistance areas, and that's basically it. Wonder if this is a good way of putting it too. It's not perfect. You'd ideally want this to like go a little higher, but you could see same thing, like EQ right here, EQ, like equilibrium is acting as resistance on these three areas. Support right here. So yeah, this is a good way of like highlighting it too. You can just consider this a range, and then once you see this kind of big candle break right here along with accompanying volume, that's when you know it's like time to buy, as in this is going to be a big move. But for these right here, you know, you do see high volume. I'll say that regards to SNX. You saw this big volume candle with, you know, ugly daily close, but price still went through. But when price really starts to run, they're not going to give you a whole lot of chances to enter. And that's one thing too that you saw with this chart on PERL. Once price starts to really move, you got this one candle as a pullback to 289 Satoshis, and then price just kept blitzing up. And you can see that too in YFI. Again, sorry for the here, I'll actually make this a little better. Okay. Oh shoot, this isn't good. Okay, we'll just have to go here. I wanted to erase some of it's hard to see this because of all my alerts, because I still have some Wi-Fi. But this is the only pullback you got when price really started running. Again, this is a little different too because this was price discovery to the upside. And in those situations, you really have no idea where price is going to stall out. And you can kind of see that too now for AXS. Price is actually pulling back for that one now too. But, you know, with such a new coin, you really don't know how high this thing's going to go. I mean, this thing could just keep going up higher, higher, higher. But what I'm trying to get at when I talk about YFI is that when price really starts to move for some of these newer coins, you're not going to get much of a pullback. This is all you'll get. And same with like PERL, even PERL, which has a long price history. This was kind of the only pullback that you got when price really starts to move. So when we're seeing right now, you know, AAVE pull back quite a bit, that would make me lean towards this just being a lower high for now. Whereas when it really starts to really run, I mean, again, it's just like I know I'm kind of contradicting myself too, because when it started to run, this is like you saw this pullback here, but that was in a bullish structure, and this right now is arguably not bullish quite yet. You could have some arguments for why it is bullish though. I mean, you could say like this is the high. Oopsies. And this is like a new higher high. So you could maybe say this is like a new bullish structure, but I mean, again, is this sustainable here? This like price action? I don't know. It's totally grinding up. I guess for me personally, I'm still assuming that these altcoins are forming lower highs for now, just like SXP. And I'm willing to change my bias if I start seeing key levels broken like this throughout the entire market. But until that time, like, there might still be some that hold up better than others, but for now, I'm just going to assume this is going to be a lower high for a lot of these. So in summary, I'm going to wait for key levels to basically get broken before I can call this like any sort of big alt pump or alt season. You want to look for big volume follow-up, and you want to see basically price continuing to just keep going higher and higher and higher without much pullback. Alt USD pairs are going to be safer to trade for longs than alt BTC. In my opinion, the trend is still bearish for a lot of these coins, so it's safer to probably play shorts rather than longs. If we are going to see a trend change, then I want to see coins form higher lows and just basically consolidate for a little bit and form macro higher lows. You know, here's Sol again. And maybe form like a higher low there. That's kind of what I want to see before I start calling this alt season or whatever. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I can go a little more into specific topics another time, but this is a total market review, and good luck out there.